Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for joining me. My weekend suggestion is Empty Nest Refresh. It is a show about children paying it forward to their parents, remodeling a room in their house. Very interesting programs, under 30 minutes, and it's free on the Roku channel. Empty Nest Refresh. It's on my community page. Please check it out. Now for this information that has been relayed. I'm going to play you the news broadcast and we're going to chop up the said information. I also will read some of the comments below this WKRN News 2 video. Thank you so much for joining me.
We will find Sebastian. We will bring him home.
9 months later, Sebastian Rogers' father holds on to hope as he continues to search for his missing son. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 5. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. The reward for Sebastian has increased following new tips and a lead that led investigators to believe they had found the teen. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry has more.
Never going to stop. You don't stop halfway between a goal, and try is just the first way of failing. We will find Sebastian. We will bring him home.
For the last 8 months, there's been no sign of Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers. Several agencies, including law enforcement, have searched for Sebastian before pulling back to focus on the, quote, investigative side. In September, Doug the Bounty Hunter joined the search.
They're really quick to jump on every tip that is validated.
On Friday, Doug the Bounty Hunter received a tip.
We understand you reported seeing a boy matching Sebastian's description at the Motel 6 in Goodlettsville.
According to At Night Private Intelligence, on Monday, a team of licensed investigators and contractors acted on that tip after seeing a boy matching Sebastian's description walk into a motel room. At 4:47 that afternoon, investigators called 911. The Sumner County Sheriff's Department arrived on scene. The individual identified was found not to be Sebastian.
Unfortunately, it wasn't Sebastian, but with that kind of movement and that kind of force, we're going to find Sebastian.
Today, the reward for information on Sebastian Rogers' whereabouts increased again from $175,000 to $200,000. At Night reported the increase was due to an escalation in credible tips and possible relation to the presence of a transnational gang from Venezuela in Tennessee. In the meantime, Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, is clinging to hope.
Every day, I hope for the phone call that brings the lead in, that puts him back where I can just look at him and give him a hug. I mean, I miss my son.
With the holidays and Sebastian's 16th birthday around the corner, Seth tells me he does not want to miss any more moments without his son by his side.
I'm hoping with everything that's coming into play, everything that's being reported, that he'll be home before he turns 16.
Anyone with information can call Doug the Bounty Hunter's tip line, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the TBI, or your local FBI office. Those numbers are listed on our website at WKRN.com.
Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. What is this all about? Reward now at $200,000. Who is the extra party that raised it from $175,000 to $200,000? You hear mentioning of Venezuelan gangs, which has been mentioned recently here in Tennessee. So far, there have been no reports of Venezuelan gangs operating out of Tennessee. So as I said, who added the extra $25,000 to the reward? Who called in the tip? In this commentary, you hear that a person called the tip line, Dog's tip line, on a Friday, and they didn't get there until Monday. And I'm assuming this because they naturally don't operate in this general area, his investigative team. So they had to have time to get to Tennessee to see about this alleged sighting of the child. So now people are going to ask, number one, who is the person that made the call? Did they call the police as well? Did they call the police first, or did they call the tip line first, or did they not call the police? That is what people are going to be asking. False lead. Investigators get to this hotel in Goodlettsville, which is the headquarters for the Dollar General store, if you did not know that. It was not Sebastian Rogers. Let's read some of the comments. Venezuela transnational gang, question mark ×3. Okay, I think not. Roll eye emoji. The mom and Chris's family did something. I don't know why this is so hard. Somebody replies, sure did. IDKYLE ain't did anything. This is just a horrible case. Somebody replies to that person. Mom and stepdad probably sold him. Wow, never thought about that. Interesting. Somebody else says, well, who's to say there isn't a connection? Anything is possible. The suspect in Lake and Riley's case was also from Venezuela. Well, I think by now we would have gotten information that the child had been talking to someone and lured out of the house. We already know that allegedly he wasn't lured out of the house. So you can't put it on anybody, whether they were in a gang or not. An outsider, rather. Somebody else replies, sadly, yes. Somebody replies, we don't have to say suspect anymore. He's guilty in the eyes of the law, stamped and sealed. But don't think Venezuela should cop the bad rap for one monster's actions, though. And that I will agree with. As I just said, there's no information of any Venezuelan gangs working here. And it's not to say that has anything to do with the child's disappearance, because we have migrants all over the United States making their way into the country. Some are good, some are bad. I guess they're trying to relay the fact that the reward went up because of this new information about these Venezuelan gangs working now in the United States, coming here, foreign countries. This is a hot mess. Why would a news station even mention Dog the Bounty Hunter's tip line? Call law enforcement! Exclamation point. And that's the question I have. Whoever you are, did you call the law first? Or did you call Dog's tip line first? Because as someone has said in these comments, it took you days to get there, naturally, to go check out the tip. So anything could have happened in that timeline if indeed it was the child. But obviously they got there, they saw the child and realized what? He is not that child. So what do we say? We have a child that looks like Sebastian staying in a hotel, motel. Just asking. Someone replied, some people feel safer calling Dog. Law enforcement has nothing after 8 months. Dog and team has had many tips and have followed up on them all. So we don't know that because we hear Seth saying validated tips. So you can't say that they've followed up on all tips. Just like law enforcement, they're not going to probably follow up on every tip because some tips can be just manufactured information that people make up out of their heads. Someone says, Lee again, I think I heard him specifically say he's looking for search tips. The news should have articulated it better. Another person replied, and Dog is a big part of the search. He is digging right in and he communicates with Sebastian's dad, Seth. Next reply, we are concerned that Mr. Craddock and his law enforcement have a conflict of interest concerning the Proudfoots and Bowersocks. And I kept hearing this Mr. Craddock mentioned in Seth's live stream earlier. I had just turned over to YouTube and was watching briefly. I didn't know what the discussion was really about. And I didn't know anything about this Mr. Craddock. So now we have two people replying. Well, the same lady keeps replying, Joy. Exactly. Then we have somebody with laughing emojis, which I don't know what's so funny about that. Then somebody else replies, because they are dummies. Oh, Lord. Now, this is a nasty comment from this puppy person. Are you people really saying Puppy the Bone Hunter is more intelligent than law enforcement? Someone please tell me I'm not going crazy. Because I'm pretty sure Puppy Boy was a bounty hunter for adult fugitives. Well, that's not nice. Oh, Lord. 1982 replies, so this new tip was just a false lead at a Motel 6. What the hell? May all these children be found in the name of Jesus. Yes, amen. Susie says someone needs to be jailed until they talk. Venezuelan gang, come on. The marching band more credible. Angelic Darkness replies. Dorothy says, dog is not a joke. Some people need to be positive. Well, and I'll say that as well. Linda says, I do not believe they will ever find this kid. Brandy says, praying that he is found. This has gone too long. Stay strong, sweet boy. Now, this is interesting from this puppy bone hunter, whoever you are. Sebastian, you are truly missed and loved. Your mommy, Katie, and stepdad, Chris, love you so much. How do you know that? Puppy bone hunter. Who are you speaking of? Who are you to speak for anybody about somebody loving this child? Come on now. Don't speak for other people. The mom's not looking. Why? Sabrina. Have you seen the funds for Dog's Reward? Is it secured in an account? Very interesting. Somebody else replies, I would think the IRS would be after their money first. They're owed. I don't know what that's about. Somebody says, why y'all saying a new tip if it wasn't him? Geez, get with the program. Wow. Miss Puddin' now. Lost Thought says clickbait, of course, and it worked. So how do you all feel about this tip and it being broadcasted on a news station and it being a false lead? And also you're not hearing from law enforcement to say they've been in conjunction with Seth and this dog bounty hunter and investigative team. And that's mainly who most people want to hear from is law enforcement. So will law enforcement speak pertaining to this tip? If they got the tip, if they followed up as well, will we hear from law enforcement? That's the number one question. I try to stay positive no matter my feelings toward the parental figures, because it doesn't help to just keep going on and on beating a dead horse about who did what, said what. We're past that stage at this point. There comes a point, as I do in all my stories I cover, it doesn't matter what the story is about. I get just tired, quite frankly. I get tired of hearing the same old conversation. And it has nothing to do with the person that's missing or the person that's deceased. It's all the extra rhetoric, because in the end, you're beating a dead horse. You're almost at a year now, and there has been no new leads pertaining to the child. If there are, and there have been investigated by TBI, the government, and Sumner County, they have yet to tell us. So I cannot speak for what they have seen and done. And naturally, they don't tell you everything as to preserve an investigation. So people are going to assume they're not doing anything. They're not talking to these parents. They're not bringing them in. They're the same questions I keep seeing in all the comment boxes under these videos. Why? Why aren't you bringing them back in? Why aren't you doing this? We don't know what they're doing. That's the problem. So we can't say what they're doing and not doing. You're just upset because you don't hear anything. But that's the gist of the story. If they don't have anything to tell you, what do you want them to tell you? That they don't have anything? If they tell you that, you'll still be complaining. It won't matter. Because nobody's going to be satisfied at anything they say. It's just the way it is. Obviously, Seth still has hope for his child being alive. And as I have said before, I am not in his shoes, so I can't tell him how he should feel and how he should think. I'm not him. Sebastian's not my child, so I can't, speak for him. Naturally, if you love your child, you want to have hope that the child is alive. But with the certain information relayed many moons ago, law enforcement didn't make it appear that the child was even seen coming out or going in. So you have to weigh that. Even now, almost 9 months in, you have to weigh that. And so I always try to pay attention to what the police say. Because a lot of times they're telling you a story without just coming out telling you directly what you want to hear. That's why you have to listen. And if they're telling you, well, okay, we can't say it's foul play. Well, we're now taking it to an investigation side. Oh, well, we didn't see him coming or going. Then what are they saying? What are they saying? So that leaves you to only a few options. He made it home from the restaurant and was taken out by means of parties from the home, handed to someone, either alive or deceased, or he never made it home from the restaurant. The options are very slim. And that's just the bottom line. It's a sad case. Because it's just hard to believe we are at this point. And no new updates substantiated by law enforcement. Just this faux tip here. So as I said, who was this child or whomever they thought was Sebastian? Who was it? Was it a child? Was it a teenager? Was it an adult that favored him? Have they been staying in the motel long? Just got there? Who is the person that looked like Sebastian Rogers? And as I said, did the police from Sheriff's Department from Sumner County go over to Goodlettsville to follow up as well? Because if they didn't, this is a hot butter mess. A hot butter mess. And that's just a sad it's a sad story. No new, nothing. And I'm sure for Seth, this was a blow to the stomach, hoping, this could be my son here and at this place, but it's not my son. So as I said before, who is the person that called in the tip? Did the person call into the Sheriff's Department first, or they called the Bounty tip line first? Did the person call 911? Hey, I think this kid is over here at this motel. So did the Sheriff's Department go and investigate? Because that's what I'm waiting to hear from. I'm waiting to hear from them to say, yes, we also followed up. We have information to these people, and he, they, whomever, naturally is no, not the child. We don't hear anything from them. This ain't good. So right now, what is the rapport between Mr. Seth, Mr. Bounty, and Sumner County Sheriff's Department. Do you all have a working relationship? Are you all on speaking terms? Are they calling Seth? Is he still calling them? What is the nature of the relationship between the Sheriff's Department and Seth Rogers? Because in his last interviews of late, it didn't seem like there was a good rapport. And I don't know if it's just that he rubbed them the wrong way, or he wasn't getting what he wanted from them, or he was trying to give them information that they didn't want to digest. I don't really know, because I'm not in Seth's pocket to know what he is saying to them and what they are saying to him and not saying. But it doesn't seem that they're on the same page, which would be sad due to the fact there is a child missing. It's really, really sad. What a hot mess. The link is in the chat. If you would like to voice your opinion pertaining to this new information, which is a full lead, you can hit the link. I'm not going to try to hold very long because it's late in the morning, but I wanted to go ahead and bring that update before the weekend expires. I don't really know what to say. As I said, I want to try to stay positive as possible because the negativity runs abundance with this case. And I was thinking about that earlier when I saw Seth going live. I thought, you need not even look at the comments in the chat, because there'll probably be somebody saying something crazy as always, but it's just devastating to know that a child was walking around and now he's nowhere to be found. No new information from any law enforcement to give the public an update. The father doesn't seem to be on a good rapport with these people. Don't know about the other side. If they're talking to law enforcement, if they're talking to the stepdad and bio mother, don't know their relationship. You don't know anything. And some people, are still, ragging on Seth about Tony and now bringing Dog in. That was his choice. Those were his choices. I don't dwell on things like that because I don't have that kind of time. I'm not going to sit up and be dwelling on who a parent went and got involved in a case. What's the point? Because as you see, we're almost a year in. As I said, you can just beat a dead horse down to where you're just regurgitating the same information over and over and over, saying the same thing. It's pointless at this. I mean, I feel like there comes a certain point in a storyline where you just have to get tired of spitting out the same thing, saying the same thing. I've already given my opinion on this case, and I get to a certain point where I don't keep going on and on about how I feel about a case. I don't feel like I have to. Some people have to keep doing it every day on their live streams. I don't. I have no reason to go on and on about none of these people because it stands on its own. Child is still missing. And there have been no updates by law enforcement. And this looks like a repeat of Summer Wells to me because it's going the same route. It's the same route to where the months start running to where there's nothing. No update, no nothing. And sadly, in her case, she doesn't even have a reward because people could not stop meddling in things that did not concern them. In her case, it's just like this one. Just as disturbing, just as vile, just as nasty. And as I always tell people, you have to own the part that you play in this social media nonsense. And I have decided I'm not participating. I'll bring an update. You're entitled to digest the information as you see fit. But I'm not beating my head against the wall pertaining to anything that's said about Sebastian Rogers or summer wells, because I don't have that kind of time. And you're not taking it anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? You just keep going on and on and on about the same damn thing every day. What's the point? He's missing. He hasn't been seen by anybody. If he has, they're not telling you, whoever they are. A lot of people do believe these parents have something to do with the child's disappearance. And the longer it goes that he's not being seen, there's no validated tip to find him either alive or deceased, you're going to think that the parents are behind it. One of them, two of them. That's just what you're going to think. Because it's not looking that somebody took him or that he was lured out or that he ran away. And when you eliminate those options, the parents are the only options left. Because anybody knows by now, with an autistic kid, he's not thinking about erasing any phone numbers out his phone before meeting someone. That's not even stuff kids think about if they're going to run off or go out and hang out with other kids. They ain't thinking about nothing like that. They're just going out the damn door. And I do believe they would have found somebody by now. Somebody lured him out. Somebody had been messaging him and said, hey, meet me at the corner, meet me at the, around the street, around the, whatever, around the bend. They would have found that person by now. It's jacked up. This is just devastating. I don't have any words for none of this. So I'm going to go to my community page and read the post. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Let's see what you all have to say. I don't think I put up, no, I didn't put up a poll pertaining to Sebastian because I didn't really have anything to ask. I just let everybody know that there's a reward at $200,000 and it was a false lead. So far, nobody has commented. But I did put up a poll pertaining to Justice Smollett and Sean Puffy Combs. Feel free to take the polls if you believe that Sean will get a bail on Monday and Justice Smollett, should his case have been overturned by the Illinois Supreme Court. Chicago is still going to pursue the $120,000 wasted in resources looking for the alleged perpetrators that did not exist in this faux hate crime. Those are my latest polls. Somebody would have seen them by now, I guess. See, that's why you have to ask those questions. And the thing about this case is that you could have 1,000 questions pertaining to the child and his demeanor, what he would and would not do. But I don't think you're going to get an accurate answer. And that's a problem. So you have to ask questions such as, did the child ever run away before? Was he prone to run out? Did he have fits of anger, tantrums to where he would just walk out the door, run out the door? Who's going to tell that? Nobody. Nobody's going to tell that. They would never tell you that. Oh, yeah, he would run out. He'd get mad. He'd just open the door, run out. Then, of course, there were comments early on. Maybe they locked him out. But then you'd have to say, then how would the child navigate? See, you don't know because you don't know the child. He got locked out. What would he do? Go knock on the neighbor's door, go hide somewhere, wander. See, we don't know. hope that he would get lost. They made me think of the Camille McKinney case. Please go back and check out my older content on that case, because I was going through some of my older videos the other day, and I posted them to my community board, maybe two older videos. And when I was listening to myself talk, that's when I was really mild-mannered. I realized my demeanor changed when I started talking about Cal City. A whole nother person emerged. And I noticed it. I said, oh my God, you used to be so calm in your videos. But see, that's the thing. Trauma can change you. Can it not? Trauma can change you. So I noticed my demeanor changed as the cases progressed. My attitude got more gritty. And I said, man, Queen, what the hell's going on? So you have to know the child. Because as I said, I was thinking that in the Camille McKinney case, when I was thinking about the parents and that April Thomas, I still don't like her to this day. I think she's an unfit mother. I still blame her as the reason her child got kidnapped, because she didn't watch her child. And some people thought, even back then, when I was covering that case in 2019, maybe the mothers made her stay outside because she wanted somebody to do something to her. Isn't that interesting? Especially due to the fact that it was said the child was missing earlier that day. Another YouTuber got sent a picture of the little girl playing in another park, miles away from the Tom Brown housing development. The picture kind of looked like the little girl without hair bows. And what I found interesting about that, jogging my memory back, that's something the father mentioned when the little girl was found dead. Where are her hair bows? Bingo card. Woo! That still sends chills up my spine. Where are her hair bows? But the killer said she took her hair bows out to give her a bath. So one would wonder, did she take the hair bows out after murdering her or before? But then that picture of a little girl playing on a slide at another park, which would have been daytime that same day, little girl didn't have any hair bows. And the little boy in the picture sure looked like her brother. To this day, I don't understand none of that either. If I go back in time, jog my memory back to that case, it's just as ignorant as this case. They're all the same. You know why it's ignorant? Because of the people raising them. That's why. That's why. All those cases were the same because of the people involved in raising the children. Cal City, same thing. Black man, Hispanic woman raising all these boy children. No girls. Anybody with sense will know there's a reason why they didn't have any girls. Some reason. 2 little black boys just go missing. They're actual biological brothers. But yet you had other foster children in your care. They didn't go missing, but just these 2. Then you come all the way over here to Tennessee, a little white girl goes missing. Her parents, they don't know nothing. Now you got another white kid missing, 15. Don't nobody know nothing. Oh, somebody knows something. See, somebody knows something. And in each case, many people believe it was foul play. Foul play with Summer Wells, foul play with Cal City boys. Both of them were found guilty of murdering one child, not the other, which I don't understand how a jury wouldn't think they didn't kill the other one. So what they think the other kid went to work? Disneyland? He's still what? Riding on a damn bumper cars? Come on, stop it. Stop it. Can't say they killed one kid, but they didn't kill the other kid. Well, then where is the other kid? But the point I'm trying to make is that all the stories are the same as far as the social media hype. Each case is the same. I saw him over here. I saw him over there. All along, the kids were dead. Anybody that followed me years ago with Cal City, need I go back there? Oh, I saw him at the mall. I believe that came from a stupid YouTuber who was a dope fiend, going live about absolutely nothing every night. Meddlesome. It's the same behavior, just like in this case. Everybody wants to be a part of the story so desperately. Why? You don't know the kid, you don't know the parents, but you got a story to tell. Oh, that's right, Cal City. She knew the bio mother of the boys. And she was just as jacked up as that bio mother, that YouTuber. See, this is what I keep trying to explain to people, that a lot of the people who talk about these cases on social media, they're just as jacked up as the people in the story. That's why they identify with the people in the story. That's why they aid these perpetrators. They aid these mangy parents because they're just like them. I'm good at reading people. And whenever I see somebody riding on the donkey's ride of people who have abused children, lost custody of their children, that tells me everything I need to know about you. You just like them. You don't know what they did. And you don't either. The state is not taking children because they want them. They don't have anywhere to house them, as you see here in Tennessee. I'm going to talk about that eventually. The state of Tennessee is now moving children out of the state because they don't have anywhere to house children in foster care. They don't have nowhere to house the children. So I said to myself, well, if you're going to move the children out of state and put them in other places, well, what about the parents who are trying to get their children? How's that going to work? What about supervised visits? If the state says, well, okay, we'll let them see their children, well, how are they going to see their children if their children are out of state? I see this being a big problem. I see these children being shuffled God knows where, and any parent trying to fight to get their kids, they ain't going to ever get them back, because you know what they're going to say? It's too expensive for us to try to get you all to meet and greet. That means the child's going to have to be transported back to Tennessee, or the parents are going to have to make their way to wherever they're sending the children. So they could be sending the children to Missouri, Idaho, New York. They didn't stipulate where they were going to be sending the children. They didn't say, oh, we're going to send them to neighboring states. They just said, oh, we're going to send them out of state. This is just crazy. But I get it. You don't have anywhere to put them, so you got to put them somewhere. But that's going to be hard on a person who's trying to get custody, regain custody of their child. My. What a debacle. So here we have a child that's going to be turning 16 next month. And he's nowhere in sight. And next week, people will be sitting around tables celebrating Thanksgiving, eating good food, laughing, watching football, running in the stores after they eat, jumping in the stores on Black Friday, children anticipating what Santa's going to bring them down the chimney. And sadly, one child won't be enjoying Thanksgiving dinner, nor will he be enjoying Christmas, especially if he's not alive. And if he is alive, why is he with somebody else? Who has him? Why do you have him? Stacked up. What a mess. That's the latest developments. 4 lead to a motel in Goodlettsville, home of the Dollar General store, for those who didn't know, was not Sebastian Rogers. Who gave the tip? Man, woman, child? How long had they been seeing this certain person go in and out of the motel? Was the person in the motel an actual child or teenager? It took days for this team to get down to Tennessee, I guess, to check it out. Naturally, anything could have happened in that time if it was the child. Did this person call law enforcement first? Because people are going to think negatively about you. Why didn't you call 911? So I'd like to know if the person called 911 first, or they called a bounty hunter's tip line first. Because it's going to look bad if you didn't call 911. Because people are going to say, you should have called 911. Because these people don't live here in Tennessee. And it took them days to get over to the motel. So if it was Sebastian, anything could have happened in that time frame of them getting there to see if the child was in that room. Reward now at $200,000. My. What a mess. I don't have anything else. That's all I got. Once again, Sumner County, did you get a call about the boy in the motel or person in the motel? Did you go and investigate? Are you investigating? Are you investigating? Where do you stand in this case? What do you have in this case? What is your rapport with Seth Rogers? And what is your rapport with the Proudfoots? And is there any bias in your sheriff's department that favor either parent? Because that's all people keep talking about still to this day, about who these Proudfoot people know and don't know. As I've told you all before, I don't lean on that type of foolishness because you're going to always have some type of biasness in every walk of life, whether it's State Department, police, sheriff, the mayor's office, all the way to the White House. There are always going to be people who ride together, stick up for one another, cover for one another, covet for one another. That's life. But due to the fact that Tennessee Bureau of Investigations is involved in this case, it will not matter who the Proudfoots are, Seth Rogers, or anybody else, because they don't have a dog in the race. So they don't care about Seth Rogers, and they don't care about the Proudfoots. What is it that you don't understand about that? They're not getting ready to let anything slide because somebody knows a sheriff or a sheriff deputy. Let me make that clear. So it doesn't matter who hangs with whom, who plays golf with whom. The government is involved now. So it won't matter if there was biasness with the Proudfoots and anybody in the sheriff's department. TBI don't care about that. What do they care about that? They don't. You think they're going to come on the scene and say, oh my goodness, the Proudfoots know a deputy. We're going to stop investigating. We're going to go home. It doesn't work like that. They don't give a damn. That gives them more reason to watch them carefully. Stay woke now. Oh, you know Billy Bob? You hang together? You golf together? You fish together? Well, now. That's more reasons to watch. To investigate. To check everybody out. Ask who was on the scene. Who got the call? Who showed up first? Who showed up last? Stay woke now. I'm woke. I stay woke. TBI don't care about none of that. TBI don't care about who Sumner County Sheriff is. They don't care who the deputies are. They don't care who the deputies know. They don't care about the Proudfoots. They don't care about anybody in Sumner County. Let me make that clear. So please stop saying that about who these people know in law enforcement. TBI will not care. And they're not going to push somebody to the side or put them on the back burner because they are in cahoots, so you all think, with the Proudfoots. Whatever went on with that baby switching and nonsense with that little girl, that story the mother told back in the winter when she sent her child down here and all she had to go through, being mistreated, trying to get her child from the deputy's office and all that type of nonsense, that was then. That was then. TBI wasn't involved in that situation. But there's a child missing from that household, and TBI is now involved. So therefore, I'm going to lean towards TBI, and they're not going to put anybody on the back burner because they know somebody in law enforcement. They're not going to care about that. So it doesn't really matter. So you all can go on and on and on about who knows who. I'm tired of hearing it. And I don't bank on that. Because the one thing I've learned about favoring people, when it comes down to investigations and people start getting wind of people asking personal questions, trust me, a person will throw you under the bus at some point. So it doesn't matter who is friends with the Proudfoots and not friends with them. At some point, everybody has gotten wind of what's going on with this child and him missing. And I think most people who would be hanging with them or friends with them would know it's probably best we keep our distance. Whether we like them or not, whether we think they didn't do anything to the child, best I stay out the way because I got to have a job. I'm a realist. That's how I think. Because I've seen it happen all the time. Same people that ride or die with people, ride their coattail, they eventually throw them under the bus. And you see it all the time in law enforcement. Everybody's in cahoots with covering up a lie, a beatdown, a shooting, a strangulation, stealing money, jewelry off the people. But when somebody decides to squeal, everybody eventually folds because they have something to lose. So in the end, I'm not going to sit here and believe that anybody in Sumner County, whether they're a civilian or a deputy or whomever, are going to ride the ride with the Proudfoots. Not at this point, you'd have to be an utter fool. Because too much has happened. And they have seen how things have played out on social media, especially YouTube, pertaining to all the parents and the gossip and the lies and the misinformation. Nobody in their right mind would even get involved with them folks. I wouldn't. Hey, I'll speak to you, but that's it. I ain't going to your house. You ain't coming to mine. Now, I'm not saying they don't have support by people. Oh, I'm sure they do. But they ain't walking around with no sign. Yes, we are supporters of them. They know better. They know better. They can talk all the junk they want on social media, get in these chats supporting them, just like you see up under this video. Somebody's supporting them, talking about they love them and all that. You don't know what they got for Sebastian because they haven't shown any love since the boy went missing. So you can't speak and say they love him. If they love him, they'd be out here searching. They'd be out here rallying. They'd be on the news talking like these other parents who have missing children, who cry and moan and fall out when they mention their child. Cry themselves to sleep every night because they miss their child. That's love. Going to anybody that will give them an ear. Listen. Hey, I got a story to tell you about my child. My child is missing. I want something done. Hear me roar. That's what you do when somebody is missing. You roar. You don't hide behind cell phone and devices, sneaking around chats and panels and SHIT for attention. Because, see, that tells me everything I need to know. You didn't care about him when he was visible. And I say visible only because I don't want to say that the child is dead. So when he was visible, you really didn't care about him. You were doing what other people do. You just rolled the ride. And you see this all the time. And as I've brought you so many times, stats pertaining to parents who unalive their children, per the FBI, it is rarely that children are harmed by outside people. Yes, they are kidnapped, but it's not at the rate of murder by parent. And when you're talking about at least 500 children murdered each year by their own parent, that's a high statistic. That's 500 people snuffed out by their own bio mother or father. And yes, it's usually under the age of what, 8 or so, but it varies depending on the perpetrator. So it's shocking to people to assume, damn, why would somebody want to kill a 15-year-old autistic child? What did I tell you about asking why? Don't ask why, ask why not. Because you have to think like the killer. And some of you can't do that because you say, well, I'm not a killer queen, so I can't think like one. Well, pretend you're one. Pretend you are a killer. Pretend you are someone plotting the death of another. And the motives you would go through to get rid of a child. Why would you get rid of the child? Because you're tired. The same reason people get rid of their spouses, the boyfriends, the girlfriends. They're tired of getting beat up by a man. They're tired of being used, abused. And one day decide to, as a story I read the other day, the black man got in his semi-truck and drove it into his house and killed his wife and her lover. He was tired. Been knowing they had been sleeping around. And on this fateful day, he said, I'm tired. I'm going to tear this whole damn house down. I'll show you. And as people were commenting under the video, why would he do it? Why didn't he just leave her? Because he wanted to go his way. That was his way. Don't mean it's the right way, but that was his way. You want her so bad? Here, I'm going to give it to you. You both going to be dead together. And I don't care if I go die in prison. And that is exactly where he is today. Life without parole. So now you factor in murdering a child. Why? How could you? Because I want to. No different than the man who killed his wife and her lover in that living room. Same evilness, vengeance, anger, bitterness. Tired. I don't want to be a parent. I don't want to be bothered. Now, you have some people who are mentally ill. And they murder their children. Such as the story with Miss Yates, who drowned her babies in the bathtub. Now, some may still say, no, I don't think there's nothing wrong with her, but she allegedly did have mental illness, had a mental illness. Husband saw the signs. She was in and out of mental hospitals, get released. But the point is, he should have known, I don't need to have this woman in my life because she don't need to be taking care of children. So he's just as responsible. Because when you see the signs that a person is depressed, they have postpartum depression, you need to realize they are alone with the children. How's that going to work? It didn't work. And she's currently incarcerated. You see, people are murdered all ages for various reasons. Greed, jealousy, spite, misinformation, mistaken identities. But when people know the victim, it's personal. So as you saw with Lori Vallow, she killed a child that was almost grown because she's falling in behind a dodo bird. And she also was mentally ill herself, but everybody just put it on the back burner. Oh, that's just Lori. Oh, I already knew she had a mental problem. Okay, then that means she didn't need to have any children. And as someone said about Chad Daybell, had his children been underage, they would have been dead too. And I believe that. I totally believe that. What a mess. And yes, it is hard to understand the mindset of anyone that would take the life of a child, no matter the age. If the child is disabled, if they're 2, if they're 10, if they're 16, it doesn't matter. It's just hard for many people to comprehend the fact that a person would sit and contemplate unaliving their own child. But people do it every day. And people also unalive their grown children, especially those they're tired of dealing with, supporting. The child is coming in their house, doing things, stealing from them, robbing them, stealing their identities, credit cards. It happens all the time. Taking care of disabled adults, the people tire out. They get tired of taking care of them. They get tired of being the only one there, because it takes a lot to take care of a disabled adult, disabled child, depending on the severity of the disability. And people tire out. As I brought you that content of the parents who just let their child dissolve in the couch, had rodents running around their living room, home. Nice house, Louisiana, decent family, a Christian family. And guess what? When they went to court, they had support. It shows you how crooked and evil people are, that even the people who haven't committed this type of crime, they're following in behind these people into the courtroom and supporting them and spewing out Bible verses to the news. Nobody wants to hear you spew Bible verses and somebody just sat here and neglected their adult child and stopped feeding her. And her hair was matted. And literally she had melted into the sofa from fecal matter because you never changed her. Should have put her in a home. Should have put her in a nursing home. So that tells us there's something wrong with you all, that you all could readily agree together to abuse your adult disabled child. And people do this a lot lately. If they're not letting their children go and just basically, as they say, dissolve, people are doing it to their elderly parents and their relatives. Just letting their parents and relatives dissolve just so they can continue getting their disability check. But I don't care what anybody says. There's not enough money that the state is giving for you to sit up here and basically kill a person. $700, $1,000 a month, that ain't no money. But I guess it is to some. Because people have died for less, have they not? Or they murdered them in cold blood to continue getting their disability check, Social Security check. Some have assumed their identities. We have some crooked people out here. I think it's obvious something terrible happened to this boy child. But like I said, that's my opinion. It would be nice to know he's alive. But the flip side of that is the obvious. If he's alive, then where is he? And why is he with someone else? And common sense should tell you if he's with somebody else, they're probably not good people. Because most people who kidnap children, you can't say they're good people because no sane, decent human would kidnap a child. You can't say you love children, but you kidnap a child, stole a child. And a lot of children are stolen for nefarious reasons, if you get my drift. So there is no love. So everybody keeps saying, I hope he's alive. I hope he's alive. But you're not thinking about the type of person that would have him alive. Why not? I hope he's alive. I hope he's alive. But you're not thinking about the type of people who would have a child. They're going to have them for nefarious reasons. Because kidnapping an infant would be probably from somebody that wants a baby, sick and all. But kidnapping a 15-year-old boy, use your better judgment. That's autistic. What would someone want with this autistic child? Why? Knowing the ramifications for one, kidnapping a child or luring a child out, they wouldn't want to get caught. Hello, Jade. They wouldn't want to get caught. So it won't matter the reasoning. You kidnap the child or lure the child, you wouldn't want to get caught. And I don't think he was kidnapped, and I don't think he was lured out. But as I said, the father has hope that his son is alive. That's his right. Because nobody wants to think that their child is deceased. But when you look at the time frame, as I brought you commentary from a detective who is a YouTuber, and he's talked about this case, and he obviously has spoken with the Proudfoots, but is not working with them as far as I know. He basically said, usually in these type of cases, the child is not alive. And as I said, that's a hard thing to digest. That's a hard thing to digest. Thinking your child is not alive. He wants to have hope. Because in the end, that's all he has at this moment is hope. He's praying his child is alive. But as I said, why would somebody have the child hidden? What would be the point? For what reason? And that means they would have to be with the child 24/7 alone and never going out in public with him, and also not leaving him alone so he wouldn't get out of the house or the place where he's being stored. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Where is Sebastian Rogers? We're nearing 9 months of this boy child being out of sight, allegedly. Many innuendos, assumptions to what has happened to him. No new updates by law enforcement to where the investigation stands. Any leads? Nothing. This tip that came in to Dog, the bounty hunter, was a faux lead, and allegedly was led. They led them to a motel in Goodlettsville, Tennessee, and it was not Sebastian Rogers. As I said before, who is the person that called in the tip? Did he or she call the police first or the bounty tip line first? If you didn't call the police, why not? And then how long had they seen this person, assuming it was Sebastian Rogers? Got to ask that question as well. And has law enforcement gotten wind of the tip or no? And when they heard about the tip, if they heard, did they also go to the motel? And have they spoken to Seth Rogers? That's my commentary. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video. Take the polls on my community page pertaining to Justice Smollett and Sean Puffy Combs. I have a live stream uploaded earlier. Please check it out pertaining to both parties. It's a 2-part live. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app where I give commentary pertaining to breaking news. You'll get a notification when I comment under an article. And I'm going to read these 2 polls, and then I'm going to check out of here. City of Chicago still plans to pursue the $120,000 civil suit against Justice Smollett for wasted resources. Weigh in. Yes, they need to recoup that money. 71%. 14% no. 14% not sure. Illinois Supreme Court overturned Justice Smollett's conviction. Right or wrong? Right, 11%. Wrong, 67%. Not sure, 22%. Will Puffy get a bail on Monday? 20% says yes, 73% says no, 7% not sure, 0% hope not. Also, I posted a day ago, Tennessee launches new grant program to lower the cost of adoption. They're going to give the first, I guess, a couple of hundred people who apply online $1,000 reduction off of adoption services. And some people were commenting in the comment section under that video, nobody should have to pay to adopt a child anyway, due to the fact that a child needs a place to live. But we do have agencies, and naturally they need money, I guess, to run an operation, run the business. You have to have money because nobody's going to do it for free. Shuffling paperwork, and you got to be able to vet the people out, and it's a business. So I'm assuming that money they get from the people paying for a child is to pay office staff, so on and so forth. Once again, children in foster care in the state of Tennessee will now be removed from the state and housed in other states. Don't know the states. It was not mentioned, but this is very scary because now these children won't be near anybody to keep a relationship with that they're related to, such as, grandmothers, aunts, cousins, because they'll be moved out of state. Gwen, what are you talking about down there? Who are you speaking of? You know the mom and stepdaddy. Who are you speaking of? I don't know what you're talking about. Once again, my weekend binge is Empty Nest Refresh. It's about young people wanting to surprise their parents with a room makeover. It's a very good show. It's free on the Roku channel. And also, I have the video posted to my community page. If you'd like to take a glimpse of this TV show to see if it is something you would like to watch for your enjoyment. Prayers for Sebastian Rogers, Summer Wells, and also all missing children and adults. Prayers that Seth gets the answers he needs. Some people feel like maybe he needs to move on and accept the fact that possibly his son is not alive. You're entitled to your opinion. But as I said, we are not in his shoes, and he has the right to want to have hope for his kid. Because as I said, possibly that's all he has right now. Is the hope that the child is alive. Maybe he don't want to accept the fact that the child could possibly be unalive, because as I have said before in my commentary, in order for him to accept that the child is deceased, that also means he has to accept the fact that the child was unalive by someone. And that would leave the people who were supposed to be taking care of him, which would be the Proudfoots and any other outsider. And I don't think he wants to think about that. And he possibly has. He just has not told us, the public. Because that's the thing about telling things. Once you say it, you can't take it back. And maybe he don't want to tell the public, yeah, I think they did something to my kid. I think they unalived my kid. But he doesn't want to tell that. Maybe one day he will say that. I don't know. But for now, what he is telling the public is that he believes his child is alive. So it is what it is. Thank you for your time. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay warm. When there's another update pertaining to the disappearance of this child, or when there another amount goes up on the reward, I will bring you this information. I also post it to my community board, and know that I don't, make a video on every story that others cover, but I will put a short up or a information on the community page. Thank you, Perspective. I'm going to finish watching this TV show that I suggested, Empty Nest Refresh. I'm going to finish it because I think I'm on episode three or four. So it's a pretty good show. It's got like 6 episodes, and they're very short. They're under like 20 minutes. So for those of you who don't want to watch, long-winded commentary, but they're nice shows where these children are very humble and they're wanting to pay it forward to their parents for being supportive of them. They have left home either by going away to college and graduating from college, and they want to surprise their parents with a makeover in their home. So it's a pretty good show. So if you want something peaceful and serene to watch, I recommend this. It's free on the Roku channel, Empty Nest Refresh. You all take care too, honey. Thank you so much for watching. You've been listening to the Vault XL.